attention I've been giving to you.
All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back for another one. Today, we have this customer's Ford Edge inside the shop. Now, don't mind the shop. It was getting a lot cleaner, and thankfully, in the last week or so, I've had a vehicle to work on every single day. So we've been busy, and in a small space, that can mean that things get dirty very, very quickly. So we're gonna do a detail on this customer's vehicle. They're getting ready to sell it. So I just wanted to bring you through my process of detailing, show you a really cool steam cleaner that I got. So I'm gonna take you through about as much of this process as I can. We'll do a walk around with the vehicle first. Then obviously we'll show you some of the techniques we use during the detail, and then we'll show you the finished product. All right, so you can see we got the floor mats here, and I've seen a lot worse, but there's a lot of stains, road salt, stuff like that in these. So the first thing we're gonna do is do a dry vac on them. Then we're gonna use some homemade citrus cleaner. We'll talk about that, let that soak in just a little bit, and then we will be using the steamer. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna show you the inside of this vehicle, just show you what we're working with. And this one's really not that bad, but you know, running your own business, you learn something every single day, it seems. And one thing that I have learned is everyone's definition of not that bad is a little bit different, you know? So I have people send me pictures and then I base my quote around that. So I'm gonna flip you around. Let's just show you the inside of this thing. Yeah, so the floors and everything aren't that bad. It's black carpet, which with the sand and all that kind of stuff can be a little bit challenging. You can see the leather is in a good need of a cleaning. The dash, we got a lot of dust and stuff like that up on here. You can see around all these switches, this is all pretty well gummed up and dirty. We'll bag up all this change and all of their belongings that we find inside the vehicle, and we'll put it in the back. So that's kind of what the front looks like. Move on to the back. Kind of hard to see in here, but you can see there's a lot of sand. Leather's in about the same condition back here. We got all the floor mats out, obviously. Carpet back here doesn't look too bad. All of this plastic will have to get cleaned up. You can see all these door sills need a good cleaning. Then we'll actually steam these as well. We'll tell you how to do that without wrecking anything. There's kind of a technique to it, a little bit of a learning curve. Move along to the back, see if there's a mat in there. All right, so no mat back here. A lot of times this will have like a WeatherTech or something like that to clean. A lot of times this type of carpet, you can see how it's kind of balled up. You got to be kind of careful when you clean this. So I'll show you a trick that I have learned. You can see all the dust and dirt on the plastics. We'll go ahead and hit those windows too. But yeah, that's the car. All right, so we just went ahead and hit the floor mats with my citrus cleaner here. And this is very interesting. You can make a lot of detail products yourself that are gonna be organic and not gonna be as hard on your lungs when you're working. Last summer, I had a bunch of details all at once when I was first getting started, and I had a cough for like a month because of breathing in all the chemicals, even with a mask on. And not to mention, this is a lot cheaper way to go about refilling your detail supplies. So this is actually a citrus vinegar solution. It's diluted with about 40% water, but what you do is you just take distilled white vinegar and you soak citrus rinds and peels, you know, grapefruits, oranges, lemons, limes, and you let it ferment for about a month or so. And what that does is give this a really nice citrus scent, and the vinegar and the citrus together are a really, really awesome and fairly heavy duty cleaner. So we soak the mats in our citrus solution. We're gonna scrub them, then we'll use the steamer. We'll do one final vac. That first shop vac was just to get all the big debris off. I'm gonna go vacuum out the car, and then I'll pick back up with you guys when we get to steaming. All right, so we're going through the initial vacuum on this thing, and you can see it's kind of nasty in here. I always take your customers' change and all that little stuff that you find, bag it up for them, you know. People can get weird about stuff like this. You can see there's a receipt in there. So, you know, just assume that everyone wants to keep all this stuff. Don't be stealing people's change. Don't be stealing that dollar you found under the seat. Luckily for me, a lot of times, if I can get you to see it, these rubber inserts, well, it'll come out of there. So we're gonna end up having to soak this as well as this one. All these little rubber things, there's one down here, they all come out, and I usually soak those in soapy water just to kind of loosen all that grime up, and then we can finish cleaning them and install it. It's all this little stuff. People are expecting a detail, so you better be able to get this stuff clean. Ew. All right, one more thing here that I thought was noteworthy before we get to steaming, and that is going to be these salt spots where the carpet is actually kind of like ground down and smooth, and this stuff is, I mean, it's like a deep stain in there, you guys. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to spray that and soak it with our citrus cleaner. We're actually going to steam the entire carpet of the car, but we're going to go around now that we did our first initial vac. You can see it's not perfect, but we're gonna have to do a vac after we steam anyway. So we're just gonna take this citrus cleaner and spray all these spots, let it soak while we work on the floor mats. All right, so next here, we're gonna have some fun with the steamer, you guys. I'm excited to show you this. This steamer I actually picked up from Harbor Freight. It's essentially a McCullough knockoff. It's about $119, holds a decent amount of water. I don't really have any complaints about it. I've used it quite a bit so far. It comes with all these different quick change ends. The only complaint I've seen online is that the bristles don't hold up as long as a McCullough or anything like that, but I haven't had that issue. You can see I got some purified water behind us. Technically, you're supposed to use distilled water. I just use purified water, and then I run vinegar through it once in a while just to make sure I get any of the deposits out of the machine. Don't want to clog it up or anything like that. A lot of people I know just use tap water. I don't have a water softener, and my water is fairly hard out here, so I decided just to run distilled water. You can get a jug like that at the dollar store for $1. So now that we're ready to steam these, I'm actually going to use that little tip that's on there right now. We'll show you that. I soak them in the citrus cleaner, and then I gave them a scrub down with this. So I'm going to flip you around, show you which tip I'm going to use first and why, and then I'll show you how we kind of finish the steaming process on these floor mats. All right, so you can see on our steamer, this light is off, which means it's ready to use. After repeated use, this is gonna come on. You just have to let it heat up again. I have this little concentrated tip on here, and I use this on door panels, stuff like that. But I also like to use it on concentrated spots. You can see one here where we scrubbed, where the carpet was kind of worn down, smoothed out, kind of crusty and dirty. So I'm gonna use this first, and then we're gonna go over it with this tip. Now this one, on floor mats like this, obviously, we were using this brush, so I'm not worried about the floor mats. They're pretty tough. We're gonna use this just like this. If I do seats, carpet, that kind of stuff inside the car, I'm gonna take a microfiber like this. I'll put this on here, wrap it up, and then zip tie it to this so that we don't hurt the seats or anything like that. One other thing I've learned when you're using this steamer is, you can see I got the tip pointed towards the ground right now. You're gonna wanna kind of prime it because water's gonna come out of here. Watch this. You don't want that going all over the carpet. Now we got nice steam. Let's get these spots. Flip it around, go the other direction. I like to go all four ways, so we're gonna go this way, and then we're gonna go back and forth this way as well. Obviously, we're gonna have to vacuum it again. These spots get pretty wet when you have the concentrated spots, but it'll come out really good. All right, so now we're gonna move on to steaming the seats and the carpet. Like I said, I take a microfiber, clean one, and just wrap it around and zip tie it. Gotta wrap it. Not funny? Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna show you one. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. Process is about the same. We're gonna repeat it in the entire car, basically, and then I'll show you when we do the door cards as well. All right, so we're now gonna do the seats. Make sure that you switch your microfiber after you do the carpets to a clean one, because you're gonna pick up a lot of stuff that could scratch the leather. So I always start with the clean towel, and let's get this going. All right, so we switched tips again on the steamer. You can see we got this concentrated little point tip on the end of it. We're gonna be attacking the door panels, so I'll flip you around. This thing is super useful for this kind of stuff, getting all the nooks and crannies. You do have to be careful with it, so we're gonna go over that right now. So you can see this door panel. pretty dirty, especially down in there. But where this steamer is gonna shine is getting in all these little cracks and crevices, like here, like around the vents. Now, obviously you don't wanna spray down in these holes, but it just makes it a lot easier to get in all these little crevices and stuff like that. Be really careful around stuff like speakers, like we said about these vents. You gotta go kind of fast. You don't wanna like completely soak whatever you're working on, but I'm gonna try to set you guys up and show you this. So as you can see, it doesn't take much here to get everything nice and wet, so you got to be really careful, but it's going to blow the dirt out of all these little nooks and crannies here. Just takes a lot of the elbow grease out of the job. Be careful around all your switches, as we said. Right now we're just going to give everything a wipe down so it's not so wet. Obviously we'll dry out the entire car, but get this wiped off. Down in here you can apply a little more, obviously, because it's just hard plastic, and get all that gunk loosened up. And that's really what the steam's going to do. It's going to loosen up a lot of the stuff that's crusted on and hard just with the heat, you know, and it sanitizes everything. Now we're just going to go over it again with our citrus cleaner, just a really light spritz down here. Again, be careful around electronics and your speakers. Rub it down one more time. A lot of these little vents and things like that, you can come through with Q-tips if you have stubborn spots. Q-tips, toothpicks, that kind of thing. This is just like the first initial clean of the door panels. Come back with a plastic protectant leather treat too. Down in this door pocket. It's already looking a lot better, guys. It smells good too. All right, guys, one more thing I wanted to show you before we wrap up this detail and show you the results. And I want to preface this by saying I'm not a professional detailer. I mean, it is part of my business, but primarily I'm a mechanic. I picked up detailing because I like it. It's very satisfying work. You get to see the transformation of the interior of the car. I love cars. I've always liked cleaning my own, so I'm slowly adding detail equipment to my arsenal. So that being said, the next tip that I have figured out from my own experience that I'm going to show you is a little bit unconventional, and we're going to use this cheap duct tape to clean part of the interior of the car. So you can see we're in the back hatch, and it's not going to pick up well on the camera, but this is not the same material as the floor mats and the carpet of the vehicle. This is more like a felt, and if you rub it too hard with a vacuum, you kind of like get the fibers to start to degrade, and it doesn't end well. You don't want to wreck this felt type material, so it can be very hard to clean. I'm going to flip the camera over and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so look right here. It's like a bunch of sawdust. Now, we did our initial vacuum, but you can see we got all these little things in here to take out. And I'm sure there's a better tool, an extractor or something that you could use on this. I just know a vacuum, when you start going at these fibers, they kind of like balloon up and you end up ruining it. So I don't want to rub it too hard with the shop vac. Believe it or not, I already went over that spot. So the duct tape, if you look at this piece here, look at all that stuff on there. And you just kind of blot the spots that you need to. So I'm going to set you up, I'm going to time lapse this, and I'm going to try to take care of this big spot right here. So I'm not about to bore you guys with an hour of me doing that, but you can see the process. I still have to keep going a little bit. And I know it sounds silly, but look at all that sawdust on the tape there. If it looks stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. Mint. All right, guys, so we are ready to show you the finished product on this detail. And like I said before, I don't have all of the fancy equipments that detail shops do. My prices reflect that, but this is super satisfying work. I love doing it. I take pride in it. I do the best I can. So I just want to show you kind of the finished product in here. You can see already it looks a lot better than it did before. Let's flip you around. So here is kind of a driver's view. Yeah, the hood's up. My dumbass forgot to disconnect the battery. But you can see this looks a lot better. We got a dash protectant on the dash. There's kind of a glare from the sun. come around to the back. We steamed all of the leather, hit it with some leather treatment. Looks a lot better than it did before. Door cards look nice and crispy. Come along back here, you remember all the sawdust that was covered in the back, and the camera's not going to do a great, oh, little bastard. The camera's not going to do a great job picking all this up, and like I said, this felt material is really hard to deal with because you don't want to start shredding this. It won't go back to the way it was, and this is a black interior, so you can see there's still a little bit of stuff in there. An extractor would get all that out. I don't have one of those, but remember how sawdusty this was, like right here? Looks so much better now. So that's the back. Another seat all nice and clean. I got to get the little inserts for these cup holders. Everything turned out pretty good. So you guys, that is my process to detail with the equipment that I do already have. Really, I mean, if you have elbow grease, chemicals, that kind of stuff, like I said, I like using the cleaners that I made myself and that steamer. If you want to get into any kind of detailing at all, a steamer is going to be your best friend. Next, I would probably say is an extractor. You got to have a good shop vac. That's just a must-have. And like I said, you guys, I mostly do mechanical repairs. I just do this to kind of stay busy and because, quite frankly, I like the work. So I just wanted to take you along on one of my customer details that I had for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop me a comment down below. Like and subscribe to the video if you have not already. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.